Gang, this is KCMOGUNZ, and this channel is lit and equipped with the most modified shit that you should probably go get. Today we're going to talk about the Springfield Armory Extreme Duty 40 caliber pistol. We're going to talk about some history of the Springfield Armory. We're going to talk about some specs of the XD right out of the box. We're going to talk about why people hate it. We're going to go over the accessories and cost of everything that I've done to it. We're going to do a trigger pull, the new trigger that I dropped in it, and then we're going to look at some range footage. You know, sometimes I look at this thing and think I got the hardest XD40 in the world.
Well, sometimes I feel like slapping the shit out of you, and right now I do. So anyways.
Little Brandy. Before we dive into the history of the Springfield Armory XD, a word from our sponsors. The initial stages of the Springfield Armory XD started in Croatia as the PHP in 1991. The designer Marko Vukovic continued to make improvements, releasing the HS95 in 1995 and the HS2000 in the year 1999. 10 years after its inception, the HS2000 became more reliable and was adopted by the Croatian military and law enforcement. Once this weapon was sold in the US, it was considered cheap. It ran for about $200, and the first couple years was not successful at all. In 2002, Springfield Armory acquired the licensing rights to the HS2000, and they renamed it the Extreme Duty Pistol, which brought us the XD9. At this point, the pistol started to catch the eye of the United States public, and the company started to evolve and expand the XD series. All the guys at the Springfield Armory got at their little round table and they came up with the XD Mod 2, the XDM, the XDS, the XDS Mod 2, and the XDE. When I first got into these pistols, the first one that I really wanted was the XDM 5.25. That's how I ended up getting this bad boy right here. I got it on, I believe it was Arms List, and the guy had it listed as an XDM 5.25. I should have known because the XDM 5.25 actually has a window right here straight out of the box. This one is the XDM 9mm, and it doesn't have this window. I had this cut, but it's all good. I mean, this has turned out to be a great pistol, and I don't regret it at all. The XD45 was recognized in 2006 by the Shooting Industry Academy of Excellence and American Rifleman as the handgun of the year. They really need to shorten that name, kind of like the Strategic Homeland Intervention Law Enforcement and Logistics Division, which is SHIELD. Maybe they should call it SIA Ear.
What the hell did you just say?
Let's move. So now we're going to go over some specs of the Springfield Armory XD40 right out of the box. 40 caliber right out of the box, which is one of my favorite rounds, but I think 10mm has kind of stolen the show and pulled me away from that 40 round, but we'll talk about that in another video. The barrel is 4 inches, hammer forged with a melanite finish. The slide is forged steel with a melanite finish. We got a polymer frame. The sights are a dovetail 3-dot front and rear. The recoil system is dual captive. The grip width is 1.2 inches. The weight is 30 ounces. The length is 7.3 inches. And the height of this bad boy is 5.5 inches. Let's move. So now let's talk about why people hate this thing so much. First of all, the weapon is clear. No magazine in it. I kind of touched on this in the XDM 9 video on why people hate it. If you haven't seen that, I'll put the link in the description so you can go watch that because you need to see it. But I think that the main thing about these weapons is the grip safety. So it's not just the XD, it's not just the XDM, it's everything the Springfield Armory makes. Majority of it, at least. This grip safety is there. People say it's useless. Why is it there? I mean, it's just another safety. That's all it is. It doesn't bother me because, like I said in the XDM video, once you got a good firm grip on the pistol, it's there and it actuates and it does its thing. Everybody got their own opinions, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. I mean, I get it. But it doesn't bother me at all. So the grip safety, I believe, is the #1 reason why people don't like this pistol. It also has a high bore to grip access right here, which means it causes an excessive amount of muzzle rise and an undesirable felt recoil. And as we all know, there's not a lot of aftermarket support for the Springfield Armory firearms. You really got to look around to find what you need if you want to modify one of these things. I think that we in a time where everybody wants to modify their pistol and make it look better and make it shoot better, do whatever you desire, and Glock is kind of holding that standard really, really high to where they got all of the aftermarket support. So I ended up finding everything that I needed. I can shoot it well, and it is what it is. It's beautiful, right? Some people also think that it's really, really difficult to repair. Rookies.
Okay, now that's not polite.
It was a
Dude, I don't
thought.
care.
It was
I'm
a
not-
thought, and I blurted it out.
I'm
I did
fine.
not mean it that
I'm
way.
I actually ran into some issues when I was putting some of the parts that I purchased for this thing in it, but we're gonna go over that here in a minute. So now let's go over the accessories that I got done to my XD Extreme Duty 40 caliber pistol. As you can see right here, this thing is popping, and we're gonna go ahead and introduce y'all to where I sent it and where I got my parts. So if you got an XD that's just sitting in your safe and you don't know what to do with it because you just fell on the bandwagon and you hate it just like everybody else, you can pimp this bad boy out and make it look like this and do your thing. I got the slide cut done at DV8 Dynamics, and I opted for their portal cuts. With that option, you get a top window right here, and you get 2 side windows on both sides. It's pretty slick. The portal cuts ran me about $228. The Cerakote that I got on it ran me about $55. And of course, as you can see, I didn't do no kind of weird color on it. I just wanted it to be black, kind of like it was right out of the box. But it's still, after they put those cuts on there, then they have to re-Cerakote it. So I wanted to go back to the original color with it. And so that's what I did. So totally, when I sent this thing out to DV8 Dynamics, I got it back and I had a price tag of about $283 just for the slide. The striker retaining plate right here. I got this bad boy from Springer Precision. Nothing too crazy. It's raw aluminum and it ran me about $17.50. Looks pretty good if you ask me. So the grip safety, I had that bad boy switched out because of course out of the box it comes in black. So I did some looking around on the internet and I found this chrome / aluminum, if you will. It ran me about $57.95 and I got it from Powder River Precision. I actually had some trouble installing this thing. I mean, it goes into what we was talking about earlier on why people hate this thing. That thing was really, really difficult to install, but after, you know, going through trial and error and dealing with the trigger, I finally got it figured out and it works fine. I don't have no issues with it. Let's move. All right, so the sights I got on this thing are tritium fiber optic sights. They do glow in the dark. These are True Glow and it ran me about $87. All right, so now let's get into the barrel. When I be breaking down these things, I always try to do it like it's a Glock. It's in fact not a Glock, and there are other steps that you got to take to break this thing down. YouTube is funny about it, so I'm not going to show you me breaking it down. When it pops back to, the barrel will be out. Just like the XDM that I did, I had the barrel sent off to Twisted Barrel, and I got these flutes cut in it, spiral fluting, and I had him fill in the flutes with black Cerakote. It turned out pretty clean. I put a good amount of rounds to this thing, and it hasn't showed any kind of a wear on that Cerakote inside the fluting. So Twisted Barrel do their thing. I would highly suggest them that you look them up and you kind of have your, even if you don't want a Cerakote, you just want the flutes. He does it for a pretty good price. And whenever I have to get my stuff fluted, this is probably the company that I'll use to send my barrels off to. This whole job cost me about $90. Not too bad. Mag extensions. Got them from Springer Precision. They ran me about $37.90 for each. They built pretty well. They do exactly what I want, and that's provide extra aesthetics for this thing right here, just to go with all of the chrome barrel, the chrome backstrap, and all of the chrome pieces that I polished myself. And it just makes this thing pop. We winning. All right, so up next, the trigger right here. This thing is beautiful right here. I got it from a company called Pro Trigger, and it ran me about $75.89. Now, quick story about this trigger on this thing is that I'm gonna go ahead and just tell you, full disclaimer right off the back, I put the wrong one in there.
I'm retarded?
I purchased a trigger that was supposed to be used to install for the XDM, and the website is kind of hard to, well, it's not hard to read. I won't say that. I just need to read things a couple of times. Maybe I was just looking for one and I thought it was it, and it was for an XDM and not an XD. So I purchased the XDM trigger. I put it in, and of course, it was just, I got it in there actually, but it was just locked back to the rear. So, and I just couldn't get the grip safety to function, and then I couldn't get the trigger to move at all. So after me doing my little gunsmithing processes, and then I figured it out what was going on, I decided to take it apart and look at it. And then I looked at the website again, because they usually have videos on how to install stuff. So once I got to the website again, I looked up the item. I realized that it was a trigger for an XDM and not an XD. I was trying to get out to the range and shoot this thing, so I needed to find a trigger quick. I ended up stumbling across their website and found this bad boy right here, and it's pretty sick though. It looks really good. It's got that trigger safety in there, and it's really smooth. I really like the ergonomics of the way that thing looks. It's pretty. Say it ain't so. So while we on the topic of the trigger, let's go ahead and dig in and check out this trigger pull. Let's move. All right, so before we get into this trigger pull, of course, we're gonna make sure the weapon is clear. I know that it is, but we're gonna just do it for the sake of all of the YouTube 2A gun Nazis on there, just so it makes y'all feel better, because one of these bullets could definitely come through the screen and hit one of y'all. So I don't really want that to happen. So we're just gonna be safe. So no magazine. Let's go ahead and rack it back and let you look down the chamber. You see there's nothing in there. You see those sights popping too. So we good. Got to make sure you hold the grip safety on this bad boy, because it will not fire if you don't. We there. But it's about 5 pounds. Run it again. I don't know why. There's no point in racking it like that so many times, but I just do it because I just love the sound. Boom, we in there. 5 pounds again. Run it one more again. Reset it. 5 pounds. So it doesn't feel like a 5-pound trigger. I'll tell you that right now. It really doesn't. It's so smooth, and I don't know if it's because of just the way this trigger is built or what the case is, but it really does not feel like 5 pounds. Let's go ahead and let you get a look at the wall, the break, and the reset. See if I can get you locked in on that. Here's the wall. It has quite a bit of take up. There's all the take up right there. But there's the wall, and we pulling. Let's get a good look at that reset. I will tell you that the reset is not all of that great. The only issue that I really had with this thing and this trigger, and I stand by it, it is a good trigger. It could be the way that I installed it, because I'm not an expert gunsmith. I'm just learning. I just got my little certificate from Sonoran Desert Institute. The reset, it takes, sometimes it didn't, when I was out there shooting on the range, it did not reset. I kind of had to wiggle it a little bit. So with that being said, I would never carry this weapon, but I just take it out into the range and I have some fun with it. And I mean, it's just sexy. That's just the whole point of this thing. But the reset is out there, and I got to do some fooling around with it to kind of figure out what's really happening with this thing. But Right now, it's fine. But if I was to throw some rounds in here and shoot that live ammunition, it would be a little bit janky. And it didn't happen all the time. It happened a few times, but maybe it just needs to be broken in a little bit more. But ultimately, that thing is sexy. Stop playing. Let's move. Now that we talked about the accessories and all the costs, let's go ahead and take a look at some of this range footage. Gang, that's all I got for y'all today. In closing, this thing right here is a piece of work. I love it. I shoot this thing pretty well. I did have some issues out on the range with these sights, and I don't know what that was. I should have talked about that when we kind of went over the sights, but the front sight post was moving. I think it had something to do with the fitment of it. And I talked about this in one of my videos about a firm thumb press being able to move the sights. It was the rear sights specifically, and I'll drop the link to that video so you can go watch that. I was able to move that front sight with my thumb. The width of the piece that goes in the groove right here where you fit the sights is not large enough for that area. So what I did is I put a little bit of Loctite on it, and I just pushed it in there, and then I let it sit, and now it doesn't move. So on the range, I was kind of off, and I had a bad shooting day with the footage that you just saw. But I'm going to get this thing back out to the range, and I'm going to see what's happening with it at that point. But other than that, this thing turned out pretty good, man. Aesthetically pleasing, if I can say the least. And I'm happy with it. Get another look at it. This thing's beautiful. I mean, I understand there's some valid reasons to why you hate this thing, but this one right here, change your life. Some people will say I'm ignorant for putting this type of money into this pistol.
Who you calling ignorant?
Or that some of the mods are crazy. You know what? You're right. I am crazy. But you know what else?
I don't give a fuck.
So I got a lot of things coming for the channel, and if you gun gang, you've hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and you will get alerted when I drop the video on this Glock 20 SF.
Damn!
Did y'all see that? Y'all think that I'm playing out here? Come on, man. If you ain't gun gang, you should be, because this one right here, is all that. Stop playing. Let's move. Check out the website KCMOGUNZ, gunswithaz.com to see pics and the build list for this bad boy right here. Make sure you follow me on IG, KCMOGUNZ, Guns with a Z. Like this video and subscribe if you ain't gun gang yet. Treat, never keep, be great, 100. Always watch your six, and most importantly, come be gun gang. Cause we moving.